Let's begin. So we take this seated position that allows us to connect to our breath, our deep Ujjayi breath. And feel the shoulders relax. Might already be setting up a certain momentum for your day. But we attend to the rhythm of our breath. And start to employ your low belly muscles with each and every exhale so that you're connecting to your belly, you're feeling and finding your abdomen, and you're allowing yourself to get just a little bit emptier than you would usually. And we just keep coming back to the breath. We permit the breath to be foregrounded. We permit this noticing, this feeling awareness to be important for 1 hour. When you allow yourself to get really empty, and the simple act of relaxing your abdomen will facilitate a much deeper inhalation than you could achieve with muscular work. It also allows us to focus on the softening abdomen even as we're inhaling. So let's just back this up a moment. I know we're still kind of circling in and still trying to find our seat. That's all right. Exhale with the low belly muscles, patiently. As you feel yourself getting emptier than you typically get, and you'll find, I think, that this can go for quite some time, this patient exhalation. And softening the belly will facilitate that next inhalation. And as you keep softening the belly, That next, that patient inhalation is quite full. Right, for our breath work, we'll move our sit bones down to the ground, place the soles of feet together, inhaling, softening abdomen. Now straight away, place the hands in front of your legs. Swiftly exhale. Exhale thoroughly. Remain empty. Lowering the chin. Continue to empty. And use that emptying musculature. Draw in. Draw back. Flare the ribs. Release. When you come upright, take 1 or 2 soft ujjayi breaths. Communicate softness to the abdomen. Once more. Inhale, softening abdomen. Straight away, set the hands in front of your ankles. Exhale everything out. Remain empty. Continue the exhalation motion, like you're still trying to drain or exhale that breath out. And then draw that belly in a little further. Flare the ribs. Using hands, gently move the chest forward. Soften the abdomen. When you come upright, take 1 or 2 patient ujjayi breaths. Keep the soles of feet together, unlocking the hip. Left hand on left thigh, right hand on the ground. Now, still working with this exhalation, but like a technician, like a very careful technician. We're working with breath. It deserves our greatest care. Breath is really no joke. When we work with our breath, we're working with our unconscious, we're working with what is conscious. I'm putting a little bit of pressure, hand pressure on the left thigh. Now, let's pause right here. There's something that I've noticed over the years. As soon as the hand goes on the thigh, people kind of toss their attention away from their pelvis and just start to like rip breaths in. So let's just pause. We just put a little interrupt in any patterns that might precede what we're about to do. Feel your sit bones on the ground and lovingly bring breath into the pelvis so that you can feel a tone of care, curiosity. And as you're exhaling, use those low belly muscles, but patiently. Right? We're not yanking on a knot. But a very technical kind of extrication of whatever does feel a little bit like it needs attention. And release. We switch sides, right hand on right thigh. Okay, so I'm going to just put a little interrupt. I'm not trying to bother you with these interruptions, but where there's a habit, right, where there's an attentional habit to kind of shove or billow or boss, or I'm just going to, let's tap the brakes lovingly with the expertism of a technician. You bring that loving, caring breath into the right side of pelvis. So you can be very precise. Exhaling with the low belly muscles, but patiently. So you can notice and feel precisely when your own body feels that safety to soften, to release, to unveil. And release. Use both of your hands. Manually assist the knees back toward one another. And let's lie on our back for elbow to knee. Inhale the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. Curl tailbone, exhale the left leg outreach. And just gently lifting the thigh bone, the mass of the leg up, pull low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, right leg reach out. Pull low belly down. Inhale, bend right knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, left leg reaching out. Drawing the belly down away from the thigh as you move that left thigh away from the pelvis. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, send the right leg, the mass of the right leg away from the sacrum, pulling the belly toward the back of the sacrum, the interior of the sacrum. And inhaling, when you bend that right knee, continue. We'll do just 3 more per side. There you go. That's it, Natalia. You're getting a lot of movement through that sacrum. When you feel that you're getting that articulate motion through the sacrum where you can feel the tailbone, guide the tailbone, and you feel the motion in the sacrum, then you can attempt moving the tailbone and the sacrum as little as possible, but still feeling the motion therein. Good. We're doing straddle lifting through also. If you have any issues with your low back, or the backs of your legs, you can opt for frog. No issues. I brought my legs straight up toward the sky and keeping the sacrum on the ground, separate legs. So I only separate legs as far as I can keep my sacrum on the ground. And now inhale the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. Exhaling. That emptying move, that patient emptying move that starts to articulate the muscles, the tissue connections from the pubic bone through the inner thigh as you're reaching out through the legs. Pull the belly down. And then a little bit of a softening as you inhale patiently. Breath fills the abdomen, the low back, bottom of the pelvis. And then exhale is articulating and defining and discriminating the bones and the tissues and the muscles of the pelvis. As I draw the belly down, I reach the legs out, Can feel a little bit of distinction growing between thigh bone and pelvis. Pull low belly down. Inhaling. Practice feeling the breath in the low back. Exhale. The pubic bone, the tailbone, shifts toward the sternum. So you feel the low back lengthen and the front line of the body engage, even shorten. Pull low belly down. Now let's continue. We'll do 4 more on our own. Part of the why we're doing this, part of what hopefully is helpful to you, is to feel the elongation. There's a gentle elongation through the spine side of the body, as there's an engagement through the front side of the body. This complementary motions helps you feel the ribs aligned with the hips. It'll help you feel the legs and how it's part of the deep hip and deep structure of the back and the pelvis. When you are through, use your hands to help the legs together again. Then when we press up into a seated position, we'll take the 4 fingers of one hand and lightly draw them back. You could also do this against the floor. Pardon me. So you can have your finger pads on the ground, or one hand can grab the other. And I'm lightly drawing them back, just as I would wrist stretches, and connecting to breath. Now, having just come out of those abdominals, feel for breathing into your abdomen, your low back. Your hip sockets. Because here in just a moment, we'll be doing Tolasana, and you'll want to be able to breathe into that pelvis and that abdomen like you were doing in those abdominals. Okay, let's switch hands. I'm just grabbing all 4 fingers all together. I'm doing it with either my other hand, or I can do it with the ground. Bring that breath into the abdomen, into the pelvis. There you go. All right. So for Tolasana, we need a cross-legged position. Cross-legged works, half lotus works, and lotus. You select one. It doesn't matter which one. Whichever you choose, there's another side, so there's really 2 rounds of this. Okay. The hands beside your hips. I prefer my hands are shoulder width, no wider. So I actually lift up and I sit on my thumbs, just my thumbs. And that puts my palms directly under my shoulders. Inhale into the low belly and the low back. And as a first step, exhale, push. Push the earth with your palms, straightening the elbows with those triceps. We've been working on those. Push the shoulders down. And at first, what you may feel is just some of your weight lifting off of your thumbs or lifting off the ground. Perfect. Breathe there. Connect to your breath there. And then on successive efforts, curl the tailbone. Elevate the thighs, drawing them toward your chest. Again, your butt may still be on the ground, but there's less and less weight on the ground. And then as you really curl that tailbone, as you get those abdominals working, the butt will start to curl or lift or move off the ground. And we'll just give it a couple more breaths. And release. Unwind the legs. And there's a little detail in here that I just want to share, because sometimes there'll be a handful of us, like 1 or 2 or a few of us, working with some sacral issues. And while I'm pulling the thigh bones toward my trunk, I'm using my feet. And sometimes it's prudent to use my feet almost like I'd use my hands and push the thigh bones. So while I'm in this Tolasana, this suspension, my feet are pushing my legs. And I can often get a necessary slight adjustment on my own. So this could be good for those really tiny little shifts that you want to feel occur through the spine and the sacrum. It seems to work best in full lotus. So just, it's a detail, but there it is. All right, we've got our hands set up. Inhale into the low belly. My first move is exhaling, straightening the arms, pushing the butt weight somewhat off the floor. Keep with that push as you inhale. On successive exhalations, press a little bit more, pulling the thigh bones toward your trunk. Curling the tailbone away from the ground. And if you're in suspension and you've got your full lotus, you've got your foot pressure, your tailbone, you may even feel what that thorough exhalation nets you in the sacrum. Sometimes that thorough exhalation can start to subtly adjust those deep, deep, deep structures of the spine, sacrum, and pelvis. Good, and then let's release. Okay. When we unwind, we'll set up on elbows and knees for dolphin. Elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. Inhale into the back of the heart. And when the neck feels soft, exhale the knees off the ground. Now, in dolphin, and we're just here a handful more breaths, a few more breaths. Feel as if your quadriceps, your thigh bones are moving away from your nose. You're creating some of that same elongation or suspension or traction through the entire trunk. So yeah, that's it, Brett. Lead with the quads. Send the quads, the thigh bones, the backs of the legs. Send those big thigh bones away from the tip of your nose. There you go. Keep going, legs. Almost like you're pressing your own thigh away from your face. That's it, Susan. That's it. Deep breath. Good. Release by setting the knees down. Okay. So just a tiny rest so that, we'll be working with the wall in emergence. So let me describe. It's dolphin on the wall. And once we're up, dolphin on the wall, we'll be moving one ankle to the other thigh. Pressing. Now, because I'll be folded in 90-degree angle, my pressure pushes my butt away from my nose. Let me do the visual, and if you're already heading in, that's perfectly fine. So the setup as a visual reminder is dolphin at the wall, that's stepping my feet up. And then the emergence is taking, this is my left foot, onto my right thigh and pressing up. We'll work each side 4 breaths. So when I need to change, I just step to the wall and change sides. Okay, so I'll talk us in again. We'll be working 4 breaths each side. So I start with my feet just inches from the wall, forearms on the ground. And the first item is when you exhale the knees off the ground, ensure that the heels touch or skim the wall, are very close. Then inhaling, step foot up, hip height. As you exhale, step the second foot up, hip height, perfect. Take a moment, soften through the neck, because our head and our butt are in a relationship. This is what we're feeling for and examining. Ankle to other thigh. Okay, so kind of a half lotus, kind of just getting the ankle on the thigh, and now push with that ankle upward toward the sky into the thigh. And feel if you can get both sit bones lifting away from your brain. This is a 4-breath affair, so get really patient here. And you might, Marissa, have to soften neck and lift butt, push butt up. Chest toward wall, that's it, that's it. So chest toward the wall. There you go. And just continue until you do the other side. You'll be at your pace to change legs. And when you need to exit, of course, step the feet down, set the knees down. All right, with our pelvic awareness, let's stand at the top of our mat. Inhale, reach arms overhead. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhaling, step the left foot back, set the knee down, twisting lunge. Now for some of you, if the hip or the sacrum is creating a little irritability to you today, you can make this easy, twisting lunge, and you know how to do that. Bringing that sweetness of breath into core, washing that breath wash, helping to fluidize the body. Now inhale, unwind. You may need to step your right foot forward. We're working heel to butt lunge. If you need additional padding, please slip it under. Left hand grab left foot. Now, part of all of that ground lying breath was to help us feel some kind of relationship from ribs to hips. So as I breathe into the low back, I'm using a touch of my abdominals, move my arm. You'll see my low back isn't very curvy at all. There's just my little low back curve, but I'm not back bending or belly forward. Lift the mid spine away from the low spine. When we release, set that left foot down. We're setting up for nomad's pose. Straighten the right leg forward. So nomads looks like a very high up splits. So initially I just fold forward and put my hands on the ground. So I just treat it like a fold. Okay. You can walk that right foot forward a little bit, but I don't think it's wholly necessary. And inhaling, we'll draw that right foot back, slide it back. Exhaling, we'll lower belly to earth. So you can lower from your knees or from plank. I'm going to do this little turn with my thighs. So that may have been a lot of motion on one hip. I'm going to lift my leg, roll the thigh inwardly, reach back and set it down. I'll say that again. I'm lifting up my thigh, rolling the thigh bone inwardly, reaching back and setting it down. Inhale into the navel area. Push with the hands. Pull the chest forward with your arm strength. Moving into cobra. Exhaling, lower down, downward dog. Twisting lunge, inhale your left foot forward. I've got padding on the knee for later. Exhaling the right arm over the left thigh. Inhaling, unwind for heel to butt lunge. So I step my left foot forward a little bit. Right hand, grab right foot. Now, I'm breathing into the back wall of my ribs, the back wall of my lumbar, sacral. And then as I'm exhaling, it's almost like I'm shifting or almost scooping my tailbone away from my heel, away from my right heel. Okay. So all of that pelvic rib, kind of those qualities of breathing into the back, feeling that slight elongation through the spine side of the body, while feeling that slight engagement through the front side of the body, it comes into play again right here. So all those abdominals were for a purpose, functionally, structurally. So back up, Brett, back off your elbow, shift the pelvis, the tailbone. Breathe into the back of the ribs. Lengthen the ribs up away from the hips. Now your abs are on, you don't need your elbow to support you. That's a really cool thing. You can still lunge forward, but you don't have to lean forward and lose all of that connection through your trunk. Plus we want that lengthy low back because now we're moving into a fold. So I set that right foot down, walk the left foot forward. When I'm doing things like folds, Tolasana, these kinds of things, I don't want to incur a whole lot of back bend. Just my flavor, my preference. Strongly straighten the leg. So you can use your own muscle contractions to start to play with these tensional relationships. But here's the deal. There's always a little negotiation. If you're going to play with tensional relationships in the body, connect to your breath. If we're going to do energetic work in the body, we must remain connected to our breath. If we're going to play with these neurologically facilitating tensional relationships, we need to work with our breath. Our connection to breath is kind of like a digestive enzyme. It helps us make sense. It helps us work with the material and the artifacts at hand. All right, inhale, let's draw that left foot back. We'll set the knees down. Exhaling, lower to the ground. You can lower from your knees or from plank. Lower all the way down. Reach back through the inner legs, the big toes. For cobra, shift the tailbone toward the earth. Inhale into the abdomen, the low back. Pull the mid-spine away from the low spine. Exhaling, lower down, downward dog. In downward dog, we will do one round of Uddiyana. But before you do it, we're not going to whoosh or force or expedite the breath out of the body. Okay? It's going to be a very patient, belly articulate exhale. Now, as we do this, keep the neck relaxed or the chin ever so slightly tucked. Inhaling, expand the ribs. And with the neck relaxed or the chin slightly drawn toward the sternal notch, exhale slowly and patiently. Use the low belly muscles. Lift the thigh bones away from your brain. When you relax the belly, set the knees down. We'll just set the knees down. We're going to do one final move on each side. And we're working elephant. So elephant is, I've got one tusk and one trunk. Okay. So you can work this from a crouch. You can work this from seated position. So I'm tuck the right arm under the right thigh. Hands shoulder width. Now, why I've chosen to crouch is so that I can practice just this last and little bit of flight, where my left leg floats through and forward. So, to recap, it's that pushing down that gives me that butt lift, and then I reach the leg out. So really, there's a hidden Tolasana in here. So let me show you, and then we can also set it up another way. So push, free up my right foot, pushing out through that left. Okay, so facing you, I look like this. Okay. Now you can set it up from seated, sure can. But I know some of you are on the brink. You're starting to move these hand balancing poses around. So I just want to insert that little extra move where you kind of crouched down on the one heel and the setup starts from here. Okay. This will give you a little chance to feel the Tolasana, I push down and I'm floating. And it can help you just pull that leg through, that elephant trunk through. So let's work on that one side. If I need to talk through it again, I sure will. Just show me a little hand signal and I'll talk through it again. There you go. That's it, Megan. That's cool. Yes, yes. Good. Press it all the way out. Yes. And if you really want to play, lift that leg toward your nose. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the old quad, ye old quad. There it is. That's it. That's it, Molly. That's it. Okay. And you can do the other side whenever you want. Mm-hmm. And if you get more creative than that and you start to move between a couple of poses, congratulations. Nice, nice, Natalia. Can't wait to see this one. There you go, Joy. That's it. It's pushing down, and yep, and you might drag that leg. Nice, 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 nice. Stay afloat and breathe. That's really great. Stay afloat and breathe. Mwah. Marissa. You had some things set up there. I saw a thing. I saw a tusk. Nice. All right. Press back, downward dog. Take your time. And gently set the knees down. When we have a seat, do a little picket fence. Last item, if you have a firm schedule, you might want to take Shavasana right now. Okay. So picket fence or ankle on thigh, leg raised. I can do this one of a couple of ways. One with hand support, and then the other, I take the hand support away. Okay. So one, I use my hands, and I draw this is my right foot off the ground. I can start to straighten it. Okay. This is where you might need a little bit of hand support, because this is kind of a tippy ordeal. And some people will grab their foot and just start to, with very engaged leg muscles, start to lift the straightened leg with the bent leg atop it. Okay, picket fence. I start by lifting the foot, maybe doing a little hand balance. Maybe I straighten that leg. Oops, oops, oops. And I can start to draw that foot toward my face. There you go. That's it, Marissa. So it's quite a bit different than the boat, the Navasana, and other styles. Nice. And we'll release that and we'll switch sides. And I know sometimes it comes up where when we put the ankle on the other quad, there can be quite a sensation, like a real nervy sensation. Here's why I don't mind that. I don't mind that because very often that ankle bone, almost like a little foam roller, is kind of debunching some of those quad groupings. So it's an intensity that I actually don't mind, and I believe it can be really good for the sliding qualities of muscle and tissue. All right, so you can keep the left foot on the ground. This will be a really awesome hip type stretch. You can start to pick the foot off the ground. You can straighten the one leg. There you go. That's it, Megan. That's it. Nice, Brett. Cool. That's it, Marissa. All right, we'll softly, sweetly set that down. Let's take Shavasana. So lie back in whatever position you love, whether that's soles of feet together or legs up wall or it's lying palms up. But in general, we're taking a rest position that rather exposes the body, if you will. And by exposure, I just mean that the body it's in this state of open or unprotected rest. The belly is wide open to the room, the face, the throat, the chest. And part of that, in the way that I understand it and use it, is so that I can take inventory of new sensitivity. If this embodiment practice is helping me feel and sense with greater complexity, greater acuity, granularity, and fidelity, then in the absence of volitional movement, I might be able to sense more than I ordinarily could. Taken all of this beautiful day, this precious time that we have to cultivate some non-ordinary way of perceiving and experiencing. So now we have to check. Am I noticing anything out of the ordinary? Am I more open or sensitive or intuitive? What kinds of information bleeds through my system? I feel that spontaneous aliveness or guidance of spirit. You're welcome to remain as long as you wish. If you're ready to move, bend knees. Turn to a side. And press to seated. Namaste.